hey, 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 hey. Hey, Monique. I'm so glad you're
Hey.
here today. So, welcome to Conversations with T, organic and down to earth conversations where we explore the field of perinatal and maternal health and the intersectionality of, of spirituality and psychology. I am your host and your sister friend, Shatia Tee Owsley, and each episode we will take a deep dive and listen to stories, insights, new research, and have meaningful conversations into the outstanding and sacred work of Black and Brown birth workers, spiritualists, and other holistic health professionals making tremendous impacts in the world of birth and women's overall wellness. Whether you're a parent, a birth worker, a maternal health professional, an herbalist, spiritualist, or you're just curious to learn about the world of birth and women's wellness from the lens of some dope Black and Brown wellness professionals, you've come to the right place. So grab your headphones, a warm drink, sit back, and let's vibe. Today, I would like to introduce our guest, Miss Monique Cowan. Is it Cowan or Cowan? Let me make sure I'm
It's
saying.
Cowan.
It's Cowan.
Either one is
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
I'm good with either
No, I
pronunciation,
want to
but
make sure I
listen.
say it right. I want to say it right. Monique titles herself a family nurturing specialist and coach, certified as a birth and postpartum doula and lactation educator. Monique's mission is to help mothers understand and connect with their own innate and inalienable power and to birth and parent from that place. Because so much of what moms say they want and decisions they make for birth is based in their deep fear and anxiety, Monique focuses on fear and anxiety release before birth and postpartum plans are even made. Monique is passionate about supporting her clients holistically and bringing in the entire family and community so the birth and postpartum is full of love, joy, and power. And it's a norm and not the exception. So I am so excited you're here today. I haven't seen you in some months,
I
and you
know. Thank you for having me.
absolutely. I'm so glad you're here. So I know I read just a little snippet of your bio because you do a whole bunch of stuff. So please share with us, introduce yourself, and share your journey. And we're gonna vibe out from there.
Absolutely, yes. Well, again, I am Monique Cowan, and I got started in birth work, I guess you could say fairly late. I was 30 years old, so I've been doing this almost 14 years now.
Mm-hmm.
I got started because, well, I've always worked with children.
Mm-hmm.
That's been like my career path. I've worked with children. When I was in the church space, I was a youth minister. I did junior high ministry, and then I was a director of an after school program. So I worked with babies and their parents and all of that good stuff. So I've always loved working with kids. And I never really wanted to have children of my own because I was
Mm-hmm.
scared. Like I was scared,
Mm-hmm.
terrified. My mother is one of those moms that's like, if you ask her a question, if you ask her a question about like sex or your body, she would answer, but for me, the way that I was, it was like overboard. You know what I'm saying? Like she
Right.
was one of those moms. Like she was all too happy to answer your questions. And like those conversations for me was always like, la 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 la, shut up, shut up, shut up. Like that was me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would pass out watching Bird, like wanting to, like, oh my God, like how. And so when I found, and I was in a relationship, I was in a serious relationship for like a
Mm-hmm.
long time. Don't,
Mm-hmm.
not too much, y'all, not too much. I know. No, we didn't get married. I know we ain't together no more. Be quiet. So, but we were in a relationship for a long time and never got pregnant. Never.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just kind of figured that maybe that wasn't what was I thought that it wasn't gonna happen for me. So I was
Mm-hmm.
cool with being like Auntie Monique.
Okay.
Then I found out I was pregnant. And so I just did the absolute most research about how to have the most pain-free birth possible.
Mm.
That was my
That was your
focus.
mission.
That was my because I was like, because my mom birthed five
Mm-hmm.
girls in the 80s, in the 70s and 80s. when episiotomies were the thing. They were just the
Mm.
norm. And she had
Mm-hmm.
no medication, none of that. So, and again, my mama was real like, let me tell you about it.
Right. Right.
And so I went to her and I was just like, what about an epidural? What about a C-section? What about, because I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to squeeze that. That just seemed like crazy. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
squeeze no baby out. What?
Right.
And she was like, well, let me tell you what happens. And I was like, okay, I don't want that because needles, catheters, that really freaked me out. Because I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I don't want none of that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
what can I do to make this as pain-free as possible? And that's when I found out about doulas. And
Mm.
so I did a bunch of research about them, and I actually found out that a girl I went to high school with, a woman I went to high school with, um, one of her friends was a doula. And so I
Mm-hmm.
reached out and I contacted her, and I ended up hiring her. And the process that she took me through, when I tell you, I almost want to cry, get emotional just thinking about it because I was going through it. I was afraid. I was going through it with
Mm-hmm.
my child's father. I was going, and when I tell you, we talked about everything. I
Mm.
had just met this woman and I felt
Mm-hmm.
like she was, I felt like she was my cousin,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
off rip. And her demeanor was so, excuse me, was so even
Mm-hmm.
with everything
Mm-hmm.
that I said. She was just like, well, okay. That was always her response. Well, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all right. And the way she helped me just change my mindset around my body,
Mm-hmm.
around birth, I was so, not only was I afraid, I was very insecure about my body. I was very, I wasn't very knowledgeable about my body.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time we were done, and I mean, anybody who's been pregnant and has given birth can probably attest to this. Like, you can be very reserved and very like, mm. And once
Mm-hmm.
you get into that birthing space, like, your clothes is off. And like,
Yes.
you don't,
There's no modesty. There's
there
no
is
modesty. Zero.
none. And I mean, when she was in there while I was laboring, she was at my house with me while I was laboring. And I mean, I was sitting on the toilet. I just everything. She was right there. And
Mm-hmm.
so after it was all said and done, I labored and I gave birth, no meds. It was a hospital birth, but
Mm-hmm.
um, after I did it, I was just like, oh, I need to do this for other women.
Mm-hmm.
This
Mm-hmm.
is this is because the only thing I really knew about birth, besides what my mom would tell me, and my mother never gave me horror stories, right? Like she was
Mm-hmm.
always like, I wasn't screaming, I wasn't doing that. Like it was, and she never made it sound like it was easy peasy, but she made it sound
Mm-hmm.
like, you can do it.
Right. It wasn't a horrific
It
experience.
wasn't it, right. It was
Right.
never a horrific experience, but the thing she described as to what they did, like an episiotomy, that sounded horrific to me.
Yeah.
Like, no, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
But she never made anything that sound horrific, but everybody else's birth story was always so terrible.
Mm.
And then, the only other thing you have to compare it to is what you see on TV,
Right.
which is 100% just not the truth, just
Right. Hooping
at
and
all.
hollering and yelling and just
Right.
a
Like just
lot
none
of
of
stuff
it.
that does
And,
not
and not
happen.
only that, but it's like your water breaks, contractions are intense, and now here's the baby.
Right. Mm.
Right? Like, no. I,
No.
I almost wish that's the way it went, but no. I was in labor for
Right.
17 hours.
Right.
So I just wanted to make sure that like anybody who felt like me,
Mm-hmm.
where I was just so like I wanted to pass out every time anybody mentioned like giving birth and labor and all that, like to now like I did it.
Right.
And during the process, I wasn't scared. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't afraid. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, during the process, I was like, please, let's hurry this along. Can we
Mm-hmm.
please? please hurry up and come out, baby. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so,
Mm-hmm.
but even that, even the labor, the contractions were not what I thought they were going to be. Pushing her out wasn't what I thought it was going to be,
Mm.
like at all. And it was like, I did it, I can do it. And the room, my mom was there and my doula was there, and it was just, and my doctor wasn't even there. And that's a whole other story. But just the love and the support that I
Mm.
felt in that moment was like immediately the first thing I thought when I saw her face was, I'm in love. And then I got to do this for other women.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
after she turned about maybe 6 months old, I looked up some training programs. I did the
Mm-hmm.
online training. And then once she
Mm-hmm.
turned about a year, um, here I am.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah. So you went through your doula program, and when you were going through your doula program, like what were you looking for? Like, because there's so many doula programs out
Yeah.
there, right? And there have been more within the last 10 years, 11 years, right, that have come out, that have happened. And so what were you specifically looking for in your doula program to, in essence, mirror a little bit of what you received? Now, a lot of that is I'll say it was innate after your boo got here, your baby got here, right? Because
Yes.
before you were like,
Nope.
right. But there was something that happened, right, within you. Would you say that?
Yes.
Okay.
So before I gave birth, I had already kind of started a journey of like being more mindful about what I put on my body, what I put in my body. And
Mm-hmm.
so um, I had started to kind of get into using herbs for wellness and
Mm-hmm.
healing. I changed, like I started using like black soap and Castile soap instead of like the body wash and so I
Mm-hmm.
kind of had already started on a journey. So what I wanted was a doula program that mirrored a more holistic approach.
Yeah.
My doula was a very holistic woman as well. She is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of wanted that. And I've already, I mean, anybody who knows me knows that I'm one of those that, I mean, since a child, I've been like the conspiracy theorist friend, the militant friend, the friend who's like, question everything. I get that from my
Right.
dad.
Right.
And so I automatically, and this is just my rebellious mind. I'm a little different now in my 40s, but I did not want something that was very mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
And so having the journey with my doula, we had talked about, because I'd asked her about, her journey and who she trained with and all, and how do you become a doula?
Mm-hmm.
Um, just in conversation. So I kind of already knew where I didn't want to go.
Okay.
And we won't name any names, but
Right.
you
Right.
feel me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just kind of did some research about, where I wanted to train. And so I did training with an organization called Birth Arts International.
Mm-hmm.
And the leader of that organization is a midwife. She's a
Mm-hmm.
holistic midwife and she's an
Mm-hmm.
herbalist. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I read about her, I was like, oh, okay, I like what I
Mm-hmm.
see. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why I signed up with them.
Okay.
They also have where if you certify, like it's like a lifetime thing, you always have a connection with them, which I
Mm-hmm.
really love because I think a lot of programs, while I am very much about get your money,
Mm-hmm.
100% about do your business,
Mm-hmm.
but I do think that some programs make it a little bit harder for certain folks um to be in this space.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I also like that program. But yeah, so that's what kind of guided me in where I wanted to be in the spaces that I wanted to be in when I started.
Yeah. So with that, you were able to certify as a doula. You went through their certification program.
Right.
And as I think those of us who are in birth work and who have been doing birth work for a while, I think a lot of times we go in just being like, oh, okay, I want to be a doula. And then you get into that, and then a whole world opens up to you, and you realize that there is so much more that you can do in birth work than to just be a doula. And
Absolutely.
so I think that was one of the things that I found so amazing and overwhelming at the same time, but
Hmm.
kept me excited, right? But it's like a kid in a candy store because there are so many trainings out there and there is so much to choose from, but it allows you to create your
Yes.
own birth work path
Yes.
your way. Like that is the amazing part about it. So something that you mentioned, when you were saying you were just starting out and what you were looking for in your program, in the program that you chose, one of the things that I see a lot of when I'm speaking to new doulas or new birth workers, and they have questions, is they don't know what else is out there, right? And how broad birth work is and what you
Yes.
can do in it. So I noticed that you refer to yourself as a family nurturing specialist. So I know people call you a doula as well,
Yes.
but that's the other beauty of birth work is that you create your own titles,
Absolutely.
right? Because I mean, how else are we going to encompass all these trainings that we take all the
Right.
time? Okay. But I
Yes.
love the name, the family nurturing specialist. How did you come up with that? And what does it mean to you when you're serving a family?
Well, in this journey and in doing this work, what I realized in a lot, and it's getting a lot better now, but one thing that I realized is that one, fathers were kind of put to the wayside.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's there's kind of been a movement as of late where dads are kind of coming a lot more to the forefront and people are really understanding. I mean, of course, for decades, there have been studies about the importance of dads to children and all that, but like
Mm-hmm.
for some reason, when it comes to birth work, I mean, across the board, I'm talking about in medicine and birth work and just in every space in school, you know, both parents are not prioritized
Right.
as needing support
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to be able to raise their babies.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then coming from a space for me where I wasn't with my child's father and seeing how that, especially in the beginning, affected him when it came to the way people treated him because we weren't together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, that's a whole other story. But but seeing that play out with clients
Mm-hmm.
and their families and wanting to make sure that like because I think one thing that people don't understand is that biologically, scientifically,
Mm-hmm.
in a woman's brain, it changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when
Mm-hmm.
you are the person carrying the baby and you are the primary physical caretaker of that baby, your
Mm-hmm.
brain has to change in order for
Mm-hmm.
you to do that job optimally.
Mm-hmm.
So your hormones go crazy, the synapses in your brain go crazy, and things change for you. Well, what also happens is like we talk about mommy brain and pregnancy
Mm-hmm.
brain and all that stuff because your brain literally says, I don't really give a about none of this,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Like all I know is this baby needs me. That's
Mm-hmm.
why the crying, like when I go into to home and the baby's crying, a newborn cry is like you barely
Mm-hmm.
freaking hear it.
Right.
But to mommy, it's loud. It's, oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's like, no, you ain't got to apologize. Like, what are you talking about? I'm still watching TV. Like, cut it out. So to you, biologically, when you hear your baby cry, you need to move. That's why you hear your baby cry, you start to leak milk. You start to, and it's I need to make sure everything is right, which means everything else, work, chores, all these other things have to go to the wayside. Well, for dads, their hormones change as well. So we get an increase of what's called oxytocin. For y'all to know, most of y'all know what that is. That's the love hormone, right? That's the nurturing hormone. They have a nurturing hormone as well. It's called vasopressin. That goes up in their brains, and that's a nurturing hormone, but it's more of a let's fix it nurturing hormone. So in your brain for that first 2 years, as a mom, as a birthing person, as whatever it is that you call yourself, your brain says, I need that person with the vasopressin to protect me and this baby. So when you are not romantically involved with that person, I'm gonna say a word for some of y'all mommies out here, okay? For some of y'all who have broken up, and now you got the baby and you miss them and all that stuff, and you're like, and everybody's like, girl, why? What's going? Because biologically, your brain says, I need to keep my family together. Okay, so for that first 2 years, spinning the block might be a thing. Don't be ashamed. It literally is scientific. Now, I'm not giving you permission if y'all got abusive partners out there to be good. No. Stay away. Okay? Stay away. Boo. I'm just saying that like those feelings are going to be there, and they're going to be a lot more intense because your brain said you need protection. Okay? So this is why for me, and it's not even about the studies. I've done the studies after, but after what I saw was just so prevalent that like dads and partners, when you go, when I go into a space and I go to a client and I'm like, okay, well, who's going to be here for you after baby is born? And I'm like, oh, my spouse, oh, my partner. And this is like, no, who else? Because they have things going on with them that they need support for, especially if they're there for you in the birthing space and they're up with you. Like y'all are both going to be exhausted, and then you both have to go home and take care of the baby. It's not like you work the 12-hour shift and then you get to go home and go to sleep. Right? So I wanted to make sure that they have the space to be able to come together, whether they are together romantically, whether they are just co-parenting, but just to be able to take care of that baby. And so what I realized was that we really have to start focusing on the extended family and the community a lot more, getting them knowledgeable, if not trained, because I do train families. But so part of my birth package that I do is when I'm doing my prenatal visits with my mom and we're going through birth plan and we're doing all the stuff, I require that at least one of those meetings has to be with whomever is going to be with you for those first 6 weeks. So whoever is coming in your house, whether that's your mom, your dad, your granny, your cousin, your friend, whomever, they got to come have a meeting with me. Because they need to know and understand exactly what the importance of their support means. And they need to know that I'm their support too. So if they have questions for me, they can ask me. Because you don't know what you don't know, right? Like a lot of folks come in, and even like, grandmothers, they raised you and everything, but they raised you in a different time. And especially if they are women of color, you've been told certain things, and we lost the sense of community around birth a long time ago. And so you know, a lot of us feel like what the doctor says is law,
Mm,
and it ain't.
mm-hmm.
That not to discount OBs, some of y'all are amazing, but some of y'all
Mm-hmm.
just aren't. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and it makes a difference because, in birth, what's crazy is they treat birth like it's an emergency, right? And so it's
Mm-hmm.
like you should go to the hospital, it's safer at the hospital, it's safer at the hospital. And then you get sent home and you don't see a doctor again for 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the family needs to be aware of what to look out for, because even if you've had 10 children, sometimes you just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've had women lose their lives, whether it's
Absolutely.
because of, you know, mental health issues, physical issues after birth. Women
Mm-hmm.
have been dying. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's a life or death situation to bring the family and to know what to look for,
Mm-hmm.
what to know, like, I know you're not, I'm going to,
Yeah.
know, take steps to step it up that way. It's not just,
Uh-oh, Monique, we're losing your sound a little bit. It's like you're fading out a little bit. Mm, hold on 1 second.
so just making sure that families know and understand what to look for
Mm-hmm.
postpartum. They know when to step up, they know what to do. Because definitely, yes, you need to be cooking, you need to be cleaning, you need to take over those duties that mom will be doing. I don't care if she says she's fine. She ain't fine. I don't care if she says she feel good. Doesn't matter. Tell her to go sit down somewhere and you come and do it, right?
Yeah.
And not begrudgingly.
Mm-hmm.
And two, like I think, especially with Black folks, sometimes, and I think we're getting better, and I'm loving how a lot more families are getting to know about doulas and getting to know about birth work.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome to see. Um, but I need more of us to understand that having a doula is not a luxury. Having people take care of you is not a luxury.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that is necessary. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's necessary. Like, you need to come and take over because this woman just had a baby and her whole being right now is dedicated to taking care of that baby. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. So she not only birthed a little person, she birthed a whole human being.
Yes.
She also went through a rebirth herself.
Yes.
And so not only did she go through a rebirth herself, but her partner also went through a rebirth. And it looks different for
Yes.
all three
Yes.
participants, right?
And
On
if you
this
have older
journey.
children, it looks
Yes,
different for them.
absolutely.
What's going on
Absolutely.
with them? Because
How did
then,
they
like,
feel?
mommy guilt is a real thing.
Absolutely.
And I remember thinking when I had my daughter, and she's my only child,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I don't think I could have, just in the space that I was in, like, that I could have had any more. But I remember thinking, like, how in the world could I love anything at the same time as much as I love her?
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's doable because my mom
Yeah.
has five. I know people who have a bunch of children and they are wonderful parents. But I know that that is a tightrope walk.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you have like a child who's like a toddler, and
Mm-hmm.
then you have the baby, and they need so much attention,
Mm-hmm.
and but you can't, like, you just
Mm-hmm.
can't.
Yeah.
And so again, that's why it's so important for family to be around and friends to be around, just having that community. Because, like, your others, they need care and nurturing too.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. There were a couple points that you made. I had to make my notes. I didn't forget because I still have mommy brain because my
Yes,
youngest
ma'am.
is 19 months. So if I don't write it down, it will leave my mind, okay? And I will not know what I planned on saying to you, okay? But one of the things that I just wanted to touch on is how do you introduce to partners, especially male partners, the importance of having a circle of support um, for them, right? How do you introduce that? Because, like you said, there is a shift for them too. They are on high alert, right? They are, if they were already protectors, right? But now they're super protectors, and everything seems like it is on their
Hmm.
shoulders to do. And in the society in which we live in, you know, especially for a lot of Black men, don't you be crying, do not be showing your weakness, um you know, keep your emotions in check, you know, because
Yes,
you don't want to be seen as the angry Black man,
yes.
right? You don't want to be seen as an aggressor. You need to make sure all of those things. And so this is a very vulnerable time. You know, there are so many emotions and feelings that are going through the body, right? And we
Yeah.
know that there is a direct connection between the emotions and the feelings and the trauma or experiences that a person has and
Hmm.
how they are stored in the body, right? So it is extremely important for dads and partners to have a circle of support, but some of them may be resistant to that. Like I don't need no therapy. I don't need no circle of support. I'm good. I got this
Yeah.
until you don't have this.
Until you don't have it, right?
So how do
So
you talk to them about that?
the way that I come at men is one, I acknowledge that you are the protector.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them because one, especially with Black men, a lot of Black men were raised only by their moms.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them had women teachers and women bosses and women
Mm-hmm.
and have felt emasculated sometimes by women.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I come in and do is I ask questions first.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm never coming in telling them what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I let them know like, hey, one, I'm your doula too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I am here for her first and foremost. We talking about the birth plan, talking about her body, we talking about yes. However, I am your support too. So if you have any questions for me, if you want me to clarify something for you, if you want me to do, you call me, you can let me know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
all good,
Yeah.
right? And then letting them know that like in all the ways that you are daddy, be daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I am never going to try to censor you. I'm
Mm-hmm.
never going to try to correct you. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, of course, unless it's something that where I'm seeing her and she's looking, like, but
Mm-hmm.
even then, it's more of a conversation between the two of them
Mm-hmm.
and being able to not moderate or mediate, but really kind of like starting the conversation
Mm-hmm.
if I see that there's one that needs to be had, and then removing myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and the one thing that I'm huge on with Black men especially is allowing them their dignity.
Mm.
And so when it comes to their emotions and, any of that, like I'm always is look, if you need to leave the room, if you need to, I'm here. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I'm here. I am the
Mm-hmm.
conscious. So if you need to leave the room, cool. And I
Mm-hmm.
tell them too, I tell every one of the dads, because they're always one of the huge things with Black dads is I don't want nobody messing over my woman and my baby. And so I try to assure them, and we go through, the anxiety and the fear stuff, and I let them talk it out, if they want to, right? But the one thing that I do, and I tell them, like, you don't need my permission, but just know that if there is a situation where you need to go ape shit, go ape shit. Because I'm just saying,
You
right?
have to
Because
protect your family.
you, like, yes, that's your family, and that's your role.
Right.
I can't speak on y'all's behalf.
Mm-hmm.
That's not my job. I'm
Mm-hmm.
here to have your back.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's what I tell them. I'm here to have your back. And I have a bunch of resources for my dads, for
Mm-hmm.
support groups and everything. And I let them know too, like, all of these support groups are run by men. And there are just men there. And maybe some of them, your babies are there too, because it's like, dads, daddy issues
Mm-hmm.
type situations. But
Right.
these are spaces where you can be you
Mm-hmm.
amongst other men. And you can get advice if you need it. You can vent if you need it.
Mm-hmm.
And because you ain't got to vent to me. I know I'm a
Yeah.
woman, and I
Yeah.
and I don't get it. I don't. I'm sorry. Like, I don't, like, I get it,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't get it because I'm not a man.
Right. Right. Right.
So that's kind of the way that I approach it, and I make sure that I'm asking questions. I'm making sure that I'm allowing him his dignity, and I'm making sure that I am acknowledging him in every step.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm acknowledging that you are a good man, you're a good husband, you're a good
Mm-hmm.
dad
Mm-hmm.
already.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Mm-hmm.
here, you're talking to me, even
Mm-hmm.
the ones who are reluctant, especially
Mm-hmm.
the ones who are reluctant to talk to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're here, I get it. I know I'm a stranger. You
Yeah.
don't know me from nobody, and for all you know, I'm just another naggy ass black woman. Got
Mm-hmm.
it. And
Mm-hmm.
let's keep it funky.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like letting them know, like, I'm here for her to make sure that her wishes are everybody else's command.
Right.
However, I am here for you as well. So whatever questions you have for me,
Mm-hmm.
about what I do,
Yeah.
about why I'm here, but I am your tag team partner. That's who
Mm-hmm.
I am.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
just going to show you what I do so you can kind of incorporate that until I get here.
Right. And I think that having this specific section, right, of this conversation is so important. Um, because as you said, yes, I guess there is just more traction, more visibility maybe on
Mm-hmm.
dads now and what it is that they're doing. And we have social media and the internet, and there you people are documenting their journeys more,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where other people can see them. And so, but it doesn't mean that the conversation is still not important, because it's like mental health services in the Black community. Yes, we're getting traction, right? And people
Right.
are seeking therapy, but you still have it's still a very taboo topic, right? To talk about the things that have happened to you, to talk about where your sadness comes from, or where your joy comes from, or whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is. You're just talking to someone different, but that can provide you with practical skills in order to navigate the world a little bit differently than you were doing
Yeah.
it before, right? And so having these conversations where we are supporting our dads, especially our Black dads who are showing up, who are doing the work, who are doing a great job, who are supporting, whether they're in the home or outside of the home, they
Mm-hmm.
are still doing the work. And so having them know that they are not alone, that they're not by themselves, and getting other dads to create
Yes.
spaces for their friends, for other
Absolutely.
dads.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
extremely important,
Yes.
that because that is where they will be able to feel safe when they know. And it may look like, hey, dads of boys or dads of girls or just dads in general, we're gonna get together and go play
We're
basketball
gonna get together and go play. Yes.
yes, every month or every 2 weeks, right? To just go and chat and talk, but doing something that you enjoy doing
Yes,
to allow you to just breathe a little bit.
exactly.
And so
And
I
that's what,
think,
like, I asked them, like, do you have a support system?
yes,
Do
yes.
you have people that you can talk to about anything?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like, anything.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that, you need that.
Mm-hmm.
And also letting them know too, like, hey, it will look different for you. It might feel different for you, but
Mm-hmm.
you can get postpartum mood and anxiety disorders too. And if
That
mom
part.
is and if mom is dealing with them, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be dealing with them too. And
Yes.
it's going to feel crazy. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
want you to feel crazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And two, and I want birth workers to know, because I know a lot of birth workers are very I think a lot of Black birth workers do a very good job of talking to dads.
Mm-hmm.
But some birth workers are still very much focused only on mom.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they're just not comfortable, and that's cool. And like, I get it. But like, having the thing that I see that goes a long way with partners is simply asking, how do you feel?
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling right now?
Mm-hmm.
Are you okay? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes all you might get is, yeah, I'm good. I'm cool. Like,
Right.
I'm excited. I'm a little nervous, but I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Mm-hmm.
might be it.
Right. Right.
But being able to show him that you care about how he feels
Mm-hmm.
goes a long way, because the truth of the matter is people do not ask men how they're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
They don't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They get directives. They get
Mm-hmm.
told what to do.
Mm-hmm.
They get asked what they think about something, how to fix something,
Mm-hmm.
because that's their expertise, right? That's what
Mm-hmm.
they know how to do that. And
Mm-hmm.
but in this moment, there's nothing they can do to fix anything. They
Mm-hmm.
cannot help their wife not feel the pain of contractions. They
Mm-hmm.
cannot make labor go faster. They
Mm-hmm.
cannot make it go slower. They can't make
Mm-hmm.
her not dilate or dilate. They can't do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
And all they can do is be there and be a comfort. But even that is not, like, they can't comfort her into, "Ooh, I'm not feeling a thing." That's
Right.
not a thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, in that space, like you said, it's the most vulnerable probably that they've ever really felt
Yeah.
in their lives, because they can't there's no way to channel that into anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in this space, the energy is thick any people who have never been witnessed in person to a birth. It's like everybody is solemn and it's sacred, and then the adrenaline is high, and it's the energy. You've never felt anything like it, because there's literal life being brought forth.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a space where it literally is like he is just a bystander. That's the
Mm-hmm.
only thing he can be in that moment. And
Mm-hmm.
so asking him how he feels is like the acknowledgement of it, because most men are just like, it ain't about me, it's about her. Like, she's having a
Right.
baby, like, and they get that, but like, they're becoming dads.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they might be thinking, how the hell am I supposed to do this?
Right.
Money might be tight.
Right.
Time might be tight.
Mm-hmm.
He might have just heard an earful from her about not going to Target to do the
Mm-hmm.
registry.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so doing that research for birth workers, like doing that research and talking to moms too about, like, his brain is not functioning the same way yours is.
Mm-hmm.
He'll
Mm-hmm.
put together the crib, yes. He don't
Mm-hmm.
want to go plan a baby shower with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not where his brain is. He wants to
Mm-hmm.
give him something tangible to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, he
Yeah.
don't care what color the nursery is. He don't care. Like, he don't like, and don't think that means he don't care about you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think that means he don't care about the baby. He's
Right.
thinking about, I need to make sure
We
this
keep a
baby's
roof.
future is assured.
Absolutely.
I need to make sure that nothing happens to my girl or my wife. I need to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that that's going on. And so, like I said, he has the vasopressin happening, which is
Mm-hmm.
the nurturing and I gotta do it kind of a way.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he's probably going to take a lot more overtime at work.
Yeah.
Or if he has a business, he's probably going to be working on that a lot, like a
Mm-hmm.
lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So true. So true. So true. And this is like one of those conversations that has to continue, right? We have to keep talking. We have to keep supporting and loving on and pouring into, because we especially Black and brown birth workers are boots to the ground, right? We are doing
Hmm.
this work to make sure that our moms and our babies make it home, right? If they're not having a home birth, right? But while they're home, regardless, that they are being loved on and supported,
Yes,
and that they are receiving everything it is that they need. And
absolutely.
so we also need to make sure that we are creating those circle of supports for dad and partners as well. Because when all the dust settles and all the excitement wears down, because it does, right? And you're not getting all the phone calls, and people aren't asking for pictures, and people are
Hmm.
not checking on you as much as they were checking on you when you were pregnant,
Especially if you say you're going to wait on visitors.
right? um there's a shift that takes
Hmm.
place, and the foundation within the relationship needs to be strong,
Yes.
for families to continue to thrive and to grow and to, just even in some cases survive the first 6 months, the first year, because sometimes on certain days it does feel like I'm just trying to survive. that's
I'm
that's
just
that's it.
trying to listen.
Yes.
When look, and y'all, like, when my baby was baby, she's 13 now. She'll be 14 in January. Oh my God. Okay. When she was a teeny bean and she had allergies that I didn't know. And
Mm-hmm.
that kind of kicked in at like 3, 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And she would just cry and cry and cry. She'd cry at the breast. And I just did not know what now. That only lasted maybe a week
Mm-hmm.
before she saw her pediatrician. Pediatrician told me what was up. I changed my diet
Mm-hmm.
and she was better.
Mm-hmm.
Back to chill, baby.
Mm-hmm.
That week felt like forever. When I think about that now, it felt like the first year of her life. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
When it was honestly just a few days.
Yeah.
And the lack of sleep, and this is something I think people, it's like, yes, it is normal because no, you're not going to get a solid 8 full hours of sleep at night. That's
Mm-hmm.
just not going to happen. You're not going to get it. You should be sleeping when the baby sleeps, though.
Mm-hmm.
You should be getting those chunks of sleep because no sleep is the thing that is going to jack you up.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that is why it is important to have other support for both of you. Because
Absolutely.
no sleep, you want to talk about, because yes, y'all have to have a united front.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all have to be together. You got to know that in all of this, like, you can't be exhausted getting to it because the baby is crying and both of y'all is tired, and then y'all say some crazy stuff to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We can't have that.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, there needs to be somebody. I thank God every day for my mother,
Mm-hmm.
because in those 4 a.m., this baby is crying. I have no idea what she wants.
Mm-hmm.
That some non-anxious, non-exhausted hands can
Mm-hmm.
come and take that baby. and take the baby into another room
Mm.
and just tell me, go in there and go to sleep for a couple of
Mm-hmm.
hours.
She sound like my mom. I love my mom too, girl. I
When
love
I
it.
tell you, listen, I'm going to tell y'all a story. And to this day, I feel so terrible about it.
Mm.
But my baby was, I mean, she was crying, 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 would
Mm.
not let up. It usually would be that I could turn the water on and she would calm down. Or
Mm-hmm.
I could go outside, even we lived in an apartment complex. So even at 4 a.m, take her outside, and outside was the cure-all. She yell at me. She would start to latch on the boob. As soon as the letdown would happen, she would cry. And
Mm.
it was just like, I don't know what you want. And I remember walking her around and I'm just tired. And she's screaming and I just screamed at her, what do you want?
Mm.
And we both paused. She got quiet. I got quiet, like, oh my God,
Mm.
what did I just do? And
Mm-hmm.
she just, and I broke down.
Mm.
And in that moment, if it was just me,
Mm.
I do not know what would have happened.
Mm.
I don't know, with her or with me. I don't know.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
My mother came out of her room. I was living with my parents at the time. Thank you, Jesus. I was living with my parents at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom came out of the room and just gently took her from me and said, go to sleep, baby. Go to
Mm-hmm.
sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
she took her and they went in there and watched whatever the hell TV that was.
Yeah.
All y'all that don't want screens for your babies, let Granny give screens to that baby. Let Granny show that baby some screens real quick. They was watching some soap opera or something too. Whatever, some Hallmark movie that my mama is into. It wasn't even like Sesame Street or nothing. It was something like that.
You
And
gotta
she
love
went
Mimi's
and
grandmas.
I went in there and I went to sleep. I don't even know how long I slept. It might have
Yeah.
been a couple of hours. It might have been I don't know. But I came out and I was able to function
Mm-hmm.
because in that moment I was not able to I did not know what to do.
Yeah.
And the community, the family, you need to know that that is not a normal thing. That's not supposed to happen. You are
Mm-hmm.
supposed to have people around you. It is not a luxury. And
It's a
just
necessity.
if you struggled with your babies because
Mm-hmm.
nobody was helping you and you were doing it on your own, I'm so sorry because that was not supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You were
Mm-hmm.
supposed to have people around you. So knowing that, we do not want to tell our daughters, our nieces, our cousins, our homegirls, our friends, or whoever, we don't want to tell them, oh, that's just part of motherhood. You decided to have the baby, now you got to suck it up. No,
Yeah.
no, no. If we want to say when it's time to discipline the child, it takes a village, right? If we want to
Mm-hmm.
say that,
Mm-hmm.
the village must start well before that baby needs to be disciplined or punished.
Absolutely.
The village is supposed to happen. That village is supposed to surround that family. That village is supposed to be there for mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the village that keeps the unit together.
Absolutely.
Quiet as it's kept. Y'all.
Yeah.
It's the village that helps them to stay together and stay sane
Mm-hmm.
and stay well. So come in and young folks, stop thinking everybody trying to be in your business. And old folks, get in some business.
Mm.
That's all I'm saying. Y'all stop being scared of each other.
Yeah.
Stop
Yeah.
being scared of each other and allow somebody to take care of you. Like
Mm-hmm.
I 100% am for if you are not helping, then you don't get to come visit for at least a month.
Mm.
I get it. But you do need people to come and help you.
Absolutely.
If
Yeah.
you're afraid of germs, have them wear masks. Make them take their shoes off when they come in or put on their little shoe booties. There are plenty of ways that you can do that, but you need somebody to come and help.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like people underestimate the importance of community, and why it's so important, especially when you're a month in, when you're 2 months in, because that's when stuff kind of starts dying down, right? You're not
Mm-hmm.
getting as much traction or as much, the calls are not as often and the texts are not as often. And so it's like the excitement of you being pregnant or, waiting on your new bundle of joy or this new arrival. It's people are now going on back to their daily lives on
Right.
what's happening and going on. And so having that community of steady people, consistent people, loving people, kind people, excuse me, that respect your boundaries, right? Because
Yes.
those are super important as well. But ultimately, they just want to see you thrive. They want
Yes.
to be there to support you and to love on you and to pour into you. And it's something else that we need to continue to talk about. And really, especially when we're meeting with families and talking with families, you know, okay, so it's not just it's so if it's just you, then what other things do we need to put in place in order to
Yes.
support you? And maybe that means that as a doula or a birth worker or whoever, okay, well, let's see how we can work out a different type of plan, where
Mm-hmm.
maybe I can come and see you, a little
Yes.
bit more often, right? Maybe I can put a couple visits in there and we can figure out how we can make this work so that there is some type of support. I was speaking with someone else on another episode, and we were just talking about integrative care and what that looks like, and making sure that not only do you have a circle of support within families, right, but you have a circle of support in your integrative wellness team. What
Mm-hmm.
does that look like? It's not just your OB by itself. It's not just your midwife. It's not just your doula. You may have a therapist, you may have a chiropractor, you may have an acupuncturist, you may have a massage therapist, you may have a cranial sacral therapist, you may have, you have your pediatrician, you have different people, you may have an energy worker, right? You may have an oracle card reader, you got an herbalist over here. How in ensuring that you have your family circle and you have your wellness circle, right,
Yes.
of support, so that you are getting all of the support that you need in order to thrive, to grow, and not to feel so overwhelmed during this
Yes.
journey in this process. So community, again, is extremely important.
And I want to say too, speaking to that is be honest
Mm,
with all the folks around you. And I totally understand and I get the fear that being honest
mm-hmm,
holds
mm-hmm,
when it comes to, especially folks who are not your family, especially when
right.
it comes to your care providers
Mm-hmm,
and when it comes to your children and how you feel about things. One thing I'm going to say is this is part of the reason why it's very important, and this is why I work with fear and anxiety release, because you cannot make sound decisions in fear.
yeah.
If you are afraid, the loudest voice is going to be the what if voice. And you need to not listen to the what if
Mm-hmm,
and the what abouts.
mm-hmm,
You need to listen to that clear, still, small voice when you ask a question about what should I do, that thing. And sometimes it's the most uncomfortable thing for you to do, but you
mm-hmm,
know it's the thing that you need to do.
yeah.
That's the voice that you need to listen to. Because if you have providers who you don't feel comfortable with telling the truth to, and
Mm-hmm,
that it could be for whatever reason. It could be because, when you speak to them, they are dismissive. Could be because when they don't stick around long enough for you to ask questions, or when you ask questions, they seem like they don't have time, or
mm-hmm,
they're irritated by it. Or it could just be a feeling that you get, like you don't feel necessarily comfortable with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why you need to find the right people around you. That's why even
Right.
when folks, when they interview me and I'm the only doula that they've interviewed, I encourage them to interview
Mm-hmm.
other doulas.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know you're gonna like me. I'm dope. But I may not be the person for you. You might meet someone who they might not even have as much experience as me, but you connect with them on a level that you don't connect with me.
Right.
Right? I'm very likable, but likable does not necessarily mean that I'm the best person for you. It's
Right.
the same thing with your doctors, with your care providers.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that sometimes people are reluctant to really, have those interview type conversations with care providers because of insurance, or they might be
Mm-hmm.
on Medicaid, or they might,
Mm-hmm.
and they feel like they're very limited in what they can choose. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
here to tell you that you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And that even if you are on Medicaid, or in California it's called Medi-Cal, you still can choose a different provider if you
Mm-hmm.
need to choose a different provider, if
Mm-hmm.
you're not comfortable with who you are already with. And
Yeah.
so having that feeling of that innate I am safe,
Mm-hmm.
that belief that I am safe will have you move to make sure that you are safe.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you have the thought that I am unsafe, then it doesn't matter where you go because I'm unsafe. So even
Mm-hmm.
if I move and change providers or change, it doesn't matter because I'm unsafe everywhere I go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how your thoughts and become your beliefs, and your
Mm-hmm.
beliefs dictate your behavior. And so it is important that you get that together. It always starts with you, because first of all, you and you know that baby better than any person. I don't care how many years of
Mm-hmm.
experience, how many years of schooling, how many books, how many degrees, how many whatever. They are not inside of your body. They're not
Mm-hmm.
inside of your mind. They are
Mm-hmm.
not.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really important to make sure that you get good and get real with you first,
Yeah.
because you got to be honest with your providers, because they are the ones who have the resources to
Mm-hmm.
help if you need help. Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you think something is just, oh, I'll get over it, right?
Yeah.
Like you feel a thing, whether that's physically or mentally, and it's just like, oh, I'll be fine, I'll be okay,
Mm-hmm.
and you go to the doctor and you tell them, and they're like, we gonna run some tests,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
that's not a normal thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm gonna tell y'all to steer clear of any doctor that does not want to put their hands on you.
Mm-hmm.
If you come in and you're overweight, or whatever, you just had a baby, and this is a thing that, being dismissive, I'm feeling like A, B, and C. Oh, that's normal. You just had a
Mm-hmm.
baby. That's normal.
Mm-hmm.
You're okay. Then that's when it's time to, like, how do you know?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know I'm okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What if I'm not okay?
Yeah.
How do I tell me how I know I'm okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right? People who, when you ask to, like, I think I need some, oh no, you don't need any test. You're okay. Nah, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, absolutely not. And when you do find those providers, there are providers out there, and there are a lot of them who are excellent and wonderful, and who will sit and talk to you, and who will listen to you. Be honest with them.
Yeah.
Tell them what is happening. If you have a doula, if you have a midwife, and they are asking you what's going on with you, be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Because my clients, like, I'm telling you, well, one, when I come to your house and I'm looking at you and your baby is 3 weeks old and your house is spotless, and I know it's just you and your husband there, I'm gonna ask some questions.
Mm-hmm.
Because why is your house so spotless? What's going on? Did you guys get a housekeeper?
Right.
No. Did your mom come and clean up? No. What's going on?
Yeah.
Be honest. There are things that I can see, but some things I can't. So you need
Mm-hmm.
to be open
And transparent.
and
Yeah.
transparent. And Get out of the mindset that you are bothering somebody. Because folks, like I got clients, right? So you may or may not hear from me for a couple of weeks after our last visit. If something is happening with you in between, give me a call.
Yeah.
Even if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, give me a call. Call me. Tell me. Let me know. If you don't have a, call your mama. Call your mama. Call your friend. Right? I know some of us have very difficult relationships with our parents and with our families. But none of this was meant for us to do by ourselves.
Right. I feel like everything brings us back to community.
100%.
Everything brings us
100%.
Absolutely. I feel like every topic that we have, that we discussed and we talked about, it just all comes back to the importance of community.
Yes.
In order to build a stable family and to see people grow and see them thrive and just to support them and love on them and pour on them. Yeah, I feel like it was so needed, such a rich conversation. Like there's so many different things that we can continue to like double back on, right? And dive deeper into it. But I feel like the word for this convo is community for sure. And you have shed so many so much light, and you shared so many gems on things that I don't think people either they don't know or they don't put as much time and attention into. And I think just sharing the research, sharing the evidence, and importantly, shining lights on dads, on what it is that they're going through can put things into perspective for their partners. Yes, they're pregnant. Yes, they're going through, but hey, if you are with someone, you guys are both going through a rebirth.
You're both
right?
going through. Yes.
You're both on this journey, and it may look different for both of you, but the
and
goal is for you to
I want to
be
give
together.
a disclaimer to everybody, because this is what I get all the time. TikTok, Instagram, all the time. I am not talking about abusive partners.
Right.
I am not talking about negligent partners.
Right.
I am not talking about people who are emotionally unavailable. That's a different conversation.
Right.
I ain't gonna tell you to leave. But maybe there are some conversations that need to be had, right?
Yeah.
So I'm talking about you have overall a healthy relationship with this person. Even if you're not together with them, you have a healthy co-parenting relationship with this person. Yeah. These are the people that I'm talking about to consider and make sure and that I make sure that they have support.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just want to throw that in there.
Yes.
Just want to throw that one in there.
So as we wind down and close out this episode, what's next for you? What's the plan? 2025 is
2025
what's going on?
T girl, I feel like things are so wide open right now. I feel like the possibilities are endless. However, what definitely y'all can look forward to is 2025. I will be releasing a postpartum guidebook called the Powerfully Opulent Postpartum, or POP.
Come on.
And this guidebook is about how to, and it's a guidebook that is for postpartum, but you are meant to use it prenatal.
Okay.
So it's about going really deep and making your postpartum plan, building your community, getting in tune with you, and helping you really to kind of transition into motherhood and parenthood in the smoothest, most opulent, most nurtured way possible.
I love it.
So that will be released 2025. Also,
is it digital or is it hard copy or both?
I will have both.
Okay.
But I really I will be releasing, I really want everybody to get a hard copy.
Okay.
because I think it is important. Putting pen or pencil to paper is very
Yes.
important. It does
Yes.
something in your brain
Yes.
happens
Yes.
when you are writing things down physically instead of
Yes.
typing it.
Yes.
But also I will myself be doing a teen doula training called the
Yeah.
Budding Birth Worker.
I'm so excited about
Um,
that because we talked
yes,
about it.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So that is what is happening in 2025. And of course, I'm continuing to do my family coaching, my family classes, and y'all can get those right now at thecompletedoula.com.
I love it. I love it. So I always ask a question at the end of every episode because after we've gone through the journey of life of where we are right now, we have had so many tears and laughter and joy and upset and just
Yes.
wild stuff, just experiences, right? What would you tell your younger self?
Girl, you really are dope.
Yes, yes. Do not
Don't
second guess it.
You don't second, you really are, no matter what anybody has said, no matter how people have treated you, you really are that girl.
I love it. I love that so much. Like, I love it so much. Look, I needed to hear that when I was growing up, right? I love it.
Right.
So,
Can you imagine if you would have really believed that as like a
yes.
teenager?
Yeah, not even, let's even go before teenager.
True.
Let's go elementary school, let's go middle
Yes.
school, right? Yes, it's just so important to pour into our babies to let them know before they leave the house and go out into the world just how
Yes.
amazing and how dope they are. And so I love that. I love that to my core. I love that so much. And so how can people get in contact with you? How can they work with you? What are your socials? What's your website, email address, whatever information you want to share so people can reach out?
So y'all can get at me on at my website, thecompletedoula.com. You can email me, thecompletedoula@gmail.com. You can get at me on Instagram at Monique the Doula, or you can hit me up on TikTok at where am I? Monique the Complete Doula. I have to always remember. Monique the Complete Doula on TikTok.
Well, I thank you so much, Monique, for being here with us
Thank
today.
you for
This was,
having me. I always love talking to you. I
yeah,
love this conversation.
yeah, so we will definitely have many more. 2025 and beyond has so much in store for us. I'm looking forward to it. We got some stuff coming up together too. So
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to
Absolutely.
those collaborations as well. But I want to thank you for being here today. I honor and appreciate you, and I cannot wait to see you in person
Yes.
one day. Maybe I
Yes.
need to come to Cali.
Yes.
Yeah.
Come to Cali. Let's
Yes.
go.
But thank you so much for being here. Such an amazing conversation. And to that, we are going to close it out. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And we will see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Peace.